All right. For this month, I wanted to cover an area that I think is really important that I don't see a lot when I'm working with a lot of folks in the small to medium-sized business community. So one of the things we want to do is measuring in metrics is always an important thing in sales. Measuring the right things, measuring activity, but also showing that salesperson how the activity turns into their goals. What does that roadmap look like in terms of their activity and how that results in sales and hopefully overachieves on their quota. So for instance, this is something that I've set up with a client not too long ago where they have account executives and we look at how many calls per day. So you can see over here in this column over here, if they make 55 calls per day, that's 220 per week, give or take. This is the model that we want, so to speak. And that's 880 calls per month. In this particular company, 15% of the time, it could be 10 to 15% of the time, when they make those phone calls, they do connect with somebody, a prospect, that is the right person, that is potentially a decision maker, and we reached somebody in the company. So that's 132 connections out of that 880. And they're not always perfect, right? So then we look at what percentage of those connections, those 132 connections, can we, in a short period of time on the phone or an email, get somebody to accept a demo, a meeting, right? Where we introduce our product, ask about them. And really, that's when the magic happens, is when you have that appointment set up. So we looked at numbers, and about 25% of the time, the connection would accept, that prospect would accept a demo. So that in this example, that's 33 demos or introductions. The team, and also looking at metrics in the CRM, the close rate on a demo is 30%. So of 30% of 33 is about 10 sales. The average sale price is $3,200. So the projection for the month is 31,680. The quota happens to be 30,000. So in this model, this puts you over quota. So that's just one way of looking at it. You have to kind of get a feel for what the percentages are. Sometimes you have to ask the sales team. Other times you can find it out in your CRM. But the key is to start it, and then you can tweak it as you go. And the numbers will eventually show the truth because of where the sales numbers are and the number of phone calls that are made and demos. Now, this next column over here, this really speaks to coaching. So what would happen? There are certain numbers that the salesperson can control, right? How many calls they make per day. So what would happen if that person made 60 calls and we kept the 15% connections the same, the demos 25%? But what if we also coach this person up a little bit and they have a more impactful demo and they go from a close rate of 30% to 35? Now, with a few extra calls per week and getting better at closing demos, now their number is about $37,000 per month. So that's kind of the exercise that I like to do, and a lot of the successful sales teams will have something like this mechanism. And on the right, I want to go quickly. These are the actual numbers of the rep. So if I'm sitting down with somebody and we're going through their particular numbers, we can say, you made 51, on average, 51 calls per day in the last 30 days. That equals 765 per month. And then we kind of follow through with the math. And based on your close rates and the number of calls you're making, you're coming up short. And that's where we can adjust those things and help them and coach them. So that's really, I'll stop there. I just wanted to show you something that I see. I've been doing sales leadership for 25 years, been working with exclusively small and medium-sized companies in the last 5 or 6 years. And I see a lot of the smaller companies not always have these pieces in terms of metrics, providing that pathway to what quota looks like, and then measuring back and coaching from it. So anyways, hopefully this made sense. I went as fast as I could. If you do want to have a chat about your unique situation and numbers, you might have a different demo. Your percentages might be different. I'm happy to send you a spreadsheet. We can work on something as little as 15 or 20 minutes. So thanks, and hopefully this was helpful for everybody, and I'll talk to you soon.